So here today, we actually have something pretty fun. I did want to talk about this because it's been a good amount of time in the game, and it's been relatively pretty cool, right? We've went through a crap ton of banners. I want to go through each one and show you what the cycle kind of looked like and what we can kind of expect in the future also in some sort of capacity. This image was... It had the other, so you'll see when I pull it up. Let me just jump into it. Like and subscribe, helps out a ton. Let's check it out together. Let's hop over there. So we have the image over here. It's basically all of the banners that we went through, and then it also had some leaked stuff, which I removed. I cut it out, shift up, calm down. Just because you see this image, I've cut out all the leaked stuff in it, all right? Calm down. Do not attack me. I'm being very polite and very nice, okay? And yes, we already, and you did this to yourself. You already gave us the idea of who's coming next because you put them in the bond story and you popped them up again with some updated stuff. So we thought, oh, maybe that's the case, right? So again, if you want some sort of background, my last video will explain it to you, but I don't want to talk about any of that in this video because I like my channel and I like my my Nikke stuff. So keep me clean, all right? With that, I did want to talk about this, right? So if you were there at the start of the game, Helm was your first, in fact, banner. And again, I want to go through the banner order. The whole point of this video is to talk about everything and see what we've gotten so far and probably what we'll see next, because it's given us some sort of precedent of limited, of collabs, of regular standard banners, of how pilgrims release. It's given us this idea because it's some sort of cycle, so I thought I'd talk about that and also go through and talk about how some of the units, they released pretty good versus what we just got now and recently, right? It's crazy to me that like these units over here, Helm and Lapis, both are really solid units, and then you look at a unit like Rosanna, which isn't solid at all, and then a unit like Neon, which isn't solid at all. It's crazy to me that units that released now are worse than day one units and worse than R and SR units. Crazy, but still. No Caller ID was the first event ever. Kicked up, gave us Helm, pretty cool banner. We then kicked up into the Lapis banner, which also was really cool, and both characters till this day survived in some sort of like manner. They both are really good. The first limited event with two characters that both were flawlessly garbage. They both really aren't that good. Neve also, I think Neve was apparently better. Is that true? I saw a tier list on like on the CN side, say, or JP side, say that Neve was in fact better than Rupee and Anne, but again, I can't confirm that. Again, another limited banner that got butchered. I will say that now. Both characters became released to suck. As simple as that. We then kicked into our first big banner. So 3 banners into the game, basically, or 3 events into the game. We did kick up our first Pilgrim banner, which was Modernia. I still will say one of the best banners we have gotten in this game, and one of the strongest units that really can carry you through so much content. So for what it is, Modernia was the first kick up there of a Pilgrim. We went then starting the new trend of standard double banner units, not just this over here, which was limited, but we first got our double banner here with D outsiders being Jackal and Viper, releasing within a 2-week time span, which was pretty freaking cool. So beyond that, also Viper is not that bad, and Jackal is a very solid and broken PvP character. So if you want to clap PvP, you need Jackal. Otherwise, you're not clapping PvP. Simple as that. Next up, Maiden Valentine, Coco, Soda, and Aid. Aid did not release. What the actual flip? We only had 2 characters there. I was heartbroken. Someday we'll get Aid, and that will be the character I'm going to splurge on. Yes, I would have rather, hear me out, traded Coco for Aid. Aid would have been the better pickup in my opinion. Soda, we remained that one for various assets, but Aid that was there. Both these characters were not the best, but they weren't bad, right? We've definitely seen some bad characters. Those 2 were not one of them. Over here, we did have our first collaboration. So only a few banners into the game, we did kick up our first collaboration, which first off drowned its own controversy super early. I was fine with it. Right? You didn't need these 2 units. You could easily skip them. You kicked into the limited. They sucked really bad unless you wanted them for limited. Whatever. You went Modernia. You then had 3 weeks to save. You then went over here. You had 3 weeks to save. They gave you 6 entire weeks to save for Bullet Chainsaw, which again, you didn't even need per se. Like your starting pulls could have been used for Modernia, and then beyond that, you would have had more than enough. Like, for example, I'm free to play, and I definitely had more than enough to make it for Bullet X Chainsaw, so it really wasn't that bad, as like a lot of people on the Reddit servers portrayed it. I was okay with it, but again, I do understand some of the criticism, not all of it, but again, for what it is, they released pretty good, all right? Not broken, but they were good, right? She's a really good PvP character and pretty solid on DPS. She's more of a cheese taunt unit, very niche though, but it's not bad. For what it is, both characters were not bad, but they weren't game-breaking. They weren't like broken, insane must-haves, but they were just, yeah, you know, I use them, I can use them here, I make them work, but I don't need them, correct? With Neon, you see what happened. I keep bringing that up because, again, she's supposed to clap one content where she's designed for it, and she fails at that content, and other characters that are not meant for that content excel at that content, right? Then again, we went into the Bow Wow Paradise event with these 3 characters. 2 of them did not drop. 1 only dropped as the pickup, which was, in fact, Biscuit. Nero, absolute loss right there. Super depressed. Hopefully we do see her again in the future. Really cool kit and really cool character design. So that is there. Pretty simple. We then went into over here the Cherry Blossom event, and also Biscuit's a really niche character. She's actually pretty good too. Just I haven't used her and I don't really need her, but she does fit whatever niche she needs to. She's not that bad, and she does rank pretty high on some JP tier lists. Yeah, so there is that. Cherry Blossom also. Sakura, not the best character, definitely a pretty cool one. But again, she has a use case. You see that all these characters kind of fit some sort of thing. Again, you didn't need them. They are standard, so they can just get wish listed. So a lot of skips over here you did kind of encounter. We did have her also, one of my favorite characters, which had a huge change on her design. I loved her original one, which got butchered and definitely changed a lot. Rosanna also was in this event, and she was the first character to be released from NPC jail. Absolutely the biggest thing in the century of history of whatever. We then kicked over here into License to Kill. We had 2 banners, the Alice and the D pickup banner. Kay was a character, but she did not get a banner, so again she got NPC jailed as the other ones did. So again, super big L there. D was a pretty solid boss character, so for what it is, she actually did some pretty good, you know, kind of damage and use case, right? Then you kicked into your Pilgrim banner. So it took a while. So from the original Pilgrim banner, it took a very long time. You can basically count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 banners, 5, 6, and then it finally went in. So 6 banners, and we finally saw Pilgrim return. The thing is also, it was basically like a collab in the middle. So it was like Pilgrim up here, right, let's do it this way, ready? Limited into a Pilgrim, into a limited again, and then Pilgrim here. So we already got our limited, yeah, and now we'll get another limited. Near has to happen soon. I wonder if they're going to do a Pilgrim between it, because as you see, kind of, there was one, so it's like it started off with a, you know, a limited into a Pilgrim, then into a limited over here with Chainsaw Man, then over down here into, again, a Pilgrim. Now 2 limiteds and then a Pilgrim, right? We do know around the 1st anniversary we'll kick up into our next Pilgrim banner, potentially, but they can also squeeze one in before. They definitely could. So I do wonder if we're going to get a Pilgrim before they kick up into Bullet Chainsaw. But again, I also do see it. They have to give us some sort of break, if you will. So they could do it this way. We do know that kind of after this, we will see some sort of standard banner. We already know that because it looks like that's the case. But again, who knows if it kicks it back into another limited, and then a Pilgrim, and then Nier? We don't know. Nier is not planned anywhere. Just all we know is half part of the year, which can be August, September, November, December. It could be anywhere there. We do know that in November it has to be, you know, the Pilgrim banner for the anniversary. So we wonder what's going to happen between that. There's a lot of dates. There's a lot of days that are in the middle there. So I am curious on what they do, but we don't really know. But again, Dorothy did kick up recently. She was, in fact, there with the half anniversary. Free character over here, which is Ray. Dorothy, 3-week banner, which is pretty cool. We then kick over here to Blanc and Noir. So if you look at it, 2 broken, like, whatever it is, this is why we're, like, curious on what happened. Because they release, like, super broken characters. And then there's a dud, which again, it's warranted. You're going to get a bad character. We just didn't think like the worst character in history. That's what happened. We got the worst character in history. We then kick over here with, again, a pretty solid, pretty good character. And then again, the worst character in history. It's like crazy to me that that happened twice in a row. It's like, you know that joke? If I had a nickel for any time that happened, it'd be weird, but I have 2 nickels. It just happened. You have 2 nickels here. You have one over here, which is a failure, and over there is a failure. But for what it is, both had outstanding designs. It hurts that happened, but that's where we currently are. Then again, the banner over here is currently speculated. That's why I had to like remove it, or not speculated, but still I had to remove it because I don't want to show that. I don't want to get attacked by Shift Up, but again, we have an idea that this should be some sort of standard banner as you've just got your limited banner. So these characters can be wishlisted. So it means now is a time to save for Nier. What is it for? What's going to happen? We don't know when this is going to end also, but we're at that capacity of what the hell are they going to do? Because at any point, they can launch the banner on the 5th. They can launch the banner on the 5th. They can also launch the banner on the 12th of July, right? So keep that in mind. We'll have to see how they approach that and what their exact plan is. But for what it is right now, I do think that so far a lot of the banners have been pretty good, and most of the units kind of were used. If they were wanted, you can use them in some sort of capacity. But again, if you look at it, we didn't really get too many broken game-changing units. Modernia, right? That's one kind of broken unit. Then again, you have these ones over here, and that's basically it, right? These 3 are like the other broken ones: Blanc, Noir, and then Dorothy. No one else was like, yo, I need this character in order to compete. So they also kind of handled the meta pretty well in a capacity. Jackal was the PvP character, but that's separate. But for what it is, they've done really good in releasing some decent characters. They've also done pretty good in releasing some dog crap characters. But again, it's bound to happen. It just does suck that a limited character like this got really shredded. And a character like this was really cool, didn't work in the content it was designed for. So again, for what it is, you had kind of 2 easy skips. Let's say you didn't need a healer, you already had a healer. Again, Mari's not a must-have. She's just pretty good for healing. But let's say you already had a healer, you had 2 banners over here to skip. So that means you're plenty ready to go for Nier or whatever's next. Again, this is a standard banner, so that's like 3 full banners you were allowed to skip, right? So easily you can at least amass close to half a pity for Nier or whatever. So keep that in mind. If we do kick into another skip banner, then you have more than enough, right? And then we don't know when another pilgrim will kick up. It should be a little bit, but again, for what it is right now, I do think that the recent banners and all the banners of the game, they've created a decent environment where no character was shredding everything, ruining everything. If you look at it, you don't even need Modernia. You can run other characters that exist on the Pilgrim pool. But for what it is, I do think that for the first 7 months, 8 months of the game, they have done pretty well in banners and stuff like that. It just hurts that some characters really suck, but they could see buffs in the future. We don't really know. So for what it is, that's just a quick talk about everything we've seen so far. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, that's really been it.